do.
Let's start this show. Steelers by the It's time to get ready. James, Cody, Nick, and Jill on the mic. It's about to get real. Keep it live, that's right. From Pennsylvania to across the globe. It's time for this Steelers All-Star Show.
Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-hosts Jill from Ohio and Nick Pretzel. Folks, how are you doing this chilly Saturday morning?
Cold, very cold, a little tired, but doing pretty great. Ready to talk some Steelers football. Nick, how you doing today?
Well, kind of like Jill and our team, cold, but hoping to bring some energy back into this team. We're trying to get excited about a home game against the Colts, which seem in the past few years to historically have had our number, but hopefully we can bring them down a peg and kind of get this team energized as we go into a bit of a long stretch here. James, how are you on this morning?
I'm doing excellent. I'm excited for the weekend here. It's always fun with the festivities people have going on Halloween weekend. So hopefully you all had a safe and exciting and fun Halloween yesterday. And then hopefully we don't see any ghouls on tomorrow's game, and it's more of the treats.
All treats, no tricks.
All treats, no tricks.
Hey, I'll take some trick plays, though. I would love to see some trick plays on this offense. Yeah, our side.
Our side.
Tricks for them, treats for us.
Absolutely. So first trick of the day is Pittsburgh is apparently not happy with what's going on the defense. It is making moves. We've got all kinds of transactions to talk about. The biggest, the most exciting one, the Pittsburgh Steelers for trade for a new starting safety, Kyle Duggar from the New England Patriots, formerly a 4th or 5th round pick. Highly sought after safety. He was one of those guys that's like the big, oversized, 220-pound and fast safety. He's 29 years old now, so don't expect him to be quite as fast as he was when he was first drafted. But he's only been in the league for 5 years, so he was just a really old rookie. That being said, Pittsburgh did restructure that contract, so it is just a 1-year rental, basically. All of the extra years on this deal have been eliminated. New England took on almost all of the salary cap for this. Yeah. So it's a very low-risk situation, and a guy that fits the strong safety mold, which is going to be a real situation with Deshaun Elliott missing time now with his knee injury. What do you guys think about the addition of Kyle Duggar?
I mean, we need some help. We need some help in our secondary. It has not been looking super great, especially now that Elliott is down. So I like the fact that we're seeing transactions happen that meet the immediate need. And it was smart with New England taking most of their salary or most of his salary. And so it is really low risk for us. So I thought it was a smart move.
Something that I haven't seen really talked about a lot with this transaction is how it's another New England safety. So if we might see a little bit more of Jabril Peppers out there, that communication already exists between these two guys. So, I mean, we've been hearing rumors throughout the different broadcasting channels and different podcasts and things about the lack of communication being a big issue on this defense. So if we can see a bolstering in the play by getting some better communication back there, that could be a huge boon for us, especially with Elliott going down, who was such a integral piece of this defense doing well. Hopefully we can see him back. It's not looking like it's a very light injury to come back from. So hopefully he can rest up and heal well, for both for his own sake and for our defense's sake. You never like to see a guy get hurt and go down, especially for the year. But hopefully he can recuperate quickly like Jalen Ramsey did. But love bringing in Kyle Duggar for this team, especially with what's been going on the secondary. Just some fresh juice, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, we won't see that communication this week, but hopefully in the following weeks, maybe, depending on how Pepper's quad is doing. So,
yeah, we'll see on that for sure. So Joe kind of alluding to the fact that Jabril Peppers, I should say, has a quadriceps injury, has been listed as out for this Sunday's game. Unfortunately, but I agree with your sentiment there, Nick. These two do have that built-in chemistry. They have been the starting safety combination for the Patriots for a few years. It's a little bit alarming that when Mike Vrabel took over that team, one of the first moves he made was to get rid of or attempt to get rid of both of those starting safeties. But there is no doubt that these two have some chemistry together, and they both have good tape out there also. So definitely some things that I think could be exciting. I like the size and physicality of this guy. Being that big of a safety. This is the biggest safety that Pittsburgh's had in a very long time. You know, he's a big guy with that kind of size and athleticism, with the difficult matchup coming against the Colts versus Tyler Warren, who's having an incredible rookie season as their tight end. And that being something that's been very difficult for Pittsburgh so far this season is covering tight ends. So we need somebody willing to run with them, somebody physical enough to come up and smack them and actually take them to the ground, and hopefully not get outrun by these guys as well, because that's just been kind of embarrassing. So in the thought of getting the safety room faster, more athletic, they made another transaction also. This is one that happened before the trade for Kyle Duggar, just not as notable, so we're talking about it second instead of first. Pittsburgh signed a safety by the name of Derek Forrest to the practice squad, who Derek's been in the league for a couple of years now, younger than Kyle Duggar. He's 5'11 and a half, 206 pounds. Ran a 4.43 40 when he came out as a rookie out of Cincinnati, and a 39-inch vert with 21 reps on the bench as a 206-pound safety. So when we're talking about we need to get younger, we need to get faster, we need to get more physical, this is a guy that you could possibly use to help try and build this room. That's been a big concern for all of us so far this season, is that there was no youth left in the safety room. Mm-hmm. You know, we were really upset when we saw Sebastian Castro get poached off the team, hoping he could be a future asset in the safety room. Here's a guy who's got some starting safety experience, just fell out of favor with the Washington Commanders his last year starting with them. When 2022, he had 4 interceptions. So something went wrong in between then and now, where he's no longer a starting safety in the NFL, but has played at that caliber before. So I'm optimistic about that signing. I love a young, fast safety who can run around and hit people, and somebody that extremely athletic, again, could be very helpful in many areas of the football field when you're talking covering tight ends, even having to run with a wide receiver once in a while. If you can run a 4.43, you can run with most wide receivers.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, you love to see another big physical guy get in there, especially when Elliott's down, because you almost feel like you need a committee to replace a guy like that. So Tomlin kind of has that Tomlinism of, you know, it's not just going to be the one guy. It's going to be a group of guys coming up to fill that spot. So I think that's a smart move to make, especially as we kind of feel out what that replacement's going to look like for the time being, at least.
Yeah. It's some more practice squad transactions. They dropped a couple guys off the practice squad, brought a couple more on. Running back Raheem Blackshear and linebacker Jacoby Windman, both released from the practice squad. Offensive lineman Jack Driscoll, who's got some experience at both tackle and guard, was signed. And then also a wide receiver that should sound familiar to most of you, John Rice Plumlee. John Rice Plumlee tried out for the Steelers just last season, was brought on the team as a quarterback, played a bunch of wide receiver and kick return, and then got poached in that final cut down. So we were unable to keep him on our practice squad. Well, he's back. So here is another multi-purpose wide receiver, return man with experience as a quarterback, which those kind of guys are usually pretty heady and understand where to sit down in between the zones, where the soft spots are. It really helps them with route running when they've got experience as a quarterback. So that one's exciting to me too. I feel like this week they're low-key making some moves to bolster the practice squad, to give some guys an opportunity for maybe making an impact later on in the season, maybe even making an impact on next year's team, as you know they're going to move on from some of the guys that are on the roster now, especially in that safety room. Definitely going to be some turnover in the safety room. The wide receiver room could be some turnover there as well. We'll see what goes on with Scotty Miller. We're still in that holding pattern. Are they going to put him to the IR or not? Looks like he's going to miss another week with this finger injury.
Yeah.
So some low-key, under-the-radar moves could help out in the future there.
Love to see it.
Who wants to take the lead on this Corey Trice thing?
I think that was a volunteer by Jill.
So bad. Okay, so here we go. Corey Trice. We were so excited. 21-day window open. We were like, finally, he's going to get his shot. And now we come to find out he has a knee injury and is out for this week's game. I'm just so this to me potentially could spell the end if this does not recover. Like if he does not get better within his window opening, he has to be on IR for the rest of the season. And then from there, what is this? His third season with us?
Yes.
That to me spells the end of it for him, at least with us. I mean, maybe another team will pick him up and put him on a practice squad, but I feel so bad for him because he played. James and I were talking before the show started, and I think a couple of games last year.
Yeah, you got to play against Cincinnati. I know that.
Not enough to show us what he's truly made of, because we need, it's great to play for 1 or 2 games, but we need the longevity and the consistency to see your performance through multiple weeks. And we just have not seen that. And unfortunately his window opens and then he suffers a new injury. So it spells bad for him, man. So sad.
Yeah. Just a disaster. Nick, do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, it's Joe pretty much summed it up. He's been out there for very little film to put on tape, and it's a tough thing to see, especially for a young guy who you thought might have some promise, but then just can't stay healthy. And it's one of those tragic things in the NFL where if you can't stay healthy, you can't really contribute. So hopefully, if we do get let him part ways with him next year, hopefully he's able to land somewhere that'll be able to use him and keep him healthy, but he just hasn't been able to do so with us. And it's nothing against him. He seems like a fine young man. It's just that he's been having a hard time staying off that injured list.
Absolutely. Like they say, you can't make the club from the tub. So just very, very unfortunate bad luck for Corey Trice. And, this was the make it or break it season, it seemed like, for him. This was his opportunity to prove that he could be a part of the future. And got injured in the preseason and missed all 3 preseason games. Right. We didn't get to see him. We were so excited about, let's see Corey Trice. Let's see Dante Kent. Let's see these young corners, Beanie Bishop. Let's see these guys all preseason long. Maybe this can be part of the nucleus. That's the beginning of a new era for the secondary for the Steelers. And instead, they all got injured and missed all preseason. They're on IR or on the practice squad.
Yep.
So just real unfortunate. And Jill's 100% right. This is a short window now. If this is not a really, really minor knee injury and he can't come back in these 21 days, he stays on the IR for the rest of the season. And I don't know that Pittsburgh bothers bringing him back next year. It doesn't really cost them anything to, but what's the point? The guy's never healthy. You can't even get his help in the preseason.
Right. Well, I was like, he's just taking a spot, in my opinion. And that is unfortunate, but that's the name of the game at this point. Like, you're taking a spot, and we could, with an unknown, we still don't know your full potential. And we've held this spot for 3 years now. If you can't get healthy and prove something, unfortunately, as an organization, I don't blame them if they move on.
Yep. You got to, at some point in time, take a shot at somebody else, So Dante Kent becomes the guy that's the next person. Can he get healthy enough to try to prove his possibility of making an impact on this team? We'll cross our fingers and hope for the best, pray for a speedy recovery for Corey Trice, because when his window got open, I said, all right, here we go. A young, really long, tall, fast corner. He was a 4.47 40 when he came out. This is the kind of kid that could make an impact on a secondary that's struggling with speed right now. And it looks like he might not get an opportunity to help at all. Other guys not going to get a chance to help anytime soon are Deshaun Elliott and Dan Aquale. Dan Aquale having already gone under the knife for an ACL injury, so he's had that repaired already. We didn't hear the extent, but I assume a tear, probably a complete tear if they had to do surgery, if not mostly torn. Deshaun Elliott appears to have dodged a bullet and just got a hyperextension. They claim there to be no ligament damage, which is what I was saying there was a chance of when we saw the impact. It was dead on the knee.
Yeah.
which sucks to watch, but it's best case scenario for a knee injury because it doesn't put your ligaments in jeopardy. Now, that doesn't mean that he didn't tear the meniscus. That's very likely anytime a knee is kind of bent away. It's not intended to be bent. So if it's bent backwards like that, you absolutely can tear the meniscus. But that is the easiest surgery to come back from if you do have it. So he's going to miss at least 4 weeks. He's officially on the injured reserve. There is a chance of him coming back this season. And if Pittsburgh can get their act together well enough to get in the playoffs and make a push in the playoffs, we might get Deshaun Elliott back for the playoffs. And imagine if Kyle Duggar's playing well by then, too, and then we get Deshaun Elliott on a late push. This could be something. You're giving us a thumbs down right now, Nick.
I have no idea how that happened. My phone is thinking for itself. My hands are down below the screen, so I don't know where I read that. But thumbs down for Deshaun Elliott injuries.
Yes.
We're hoping that he can come back. You would love to see that, especially like you said, James, if Duggar's just going on a tear out there, which is what we hope happens because you like to see the moves we make be successful.
And there's a notable difference on our defense when Elliott's on the field versus when he's not. You know, we saw it in the first couple of weeks. He comes back from his injury and our defense does a complete 180. You know, we're able to stop these guys that we weren't in the first couple of games. And so it's a tough blow for our defense, but I'm hoping with the addition of Duggar, at least we can start to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, at least trying to make teams one-dimensional, right? That was the big thing when Elliott came back. We started shutting down people's run game big time. Now the problem was we couldn't stop the pass, but at least we were getting good stops against the run and forcing teams to go one-dimensional. Then you can make adjustments as far as your corners and your coverage and how tight you are to the line of scrimmage versus this off coverage that they keep on running that keeps on getting torched. So you at least have an option of doing something differently when you're able to stop the run. And I think there's a chance of it with Duggar. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping too that we figure out what we'll do a little bit better for special teams coverage because I don't like seeing Peyton Wilson losing defensive snaps, and he's not the only one that's not taken has seen his snap count go down. I think Harmon and Herbig over the last 3 games also have seen their counts go down over the last 3 games, and all of these guys were contributing in meaningful ways. You know, we saw Harmon came in after his injury and the run game got better, the run defense got better. You saw Herbig get out there, and now maybe it was something to do with having played Dylan Gabriel before and it being Dylan Gabriel and the Clowns, but you know, he was tearing it up out there when he was out there for that game. So you see these young guys contribute and you want to see them get a higher snap count share rather than a lower one. So hopefully we see some adjustments made there as well because we're going to need it against this offense for sure.
Well, and I don't understand because there have been comments about Herbig's snap count over in different press conferences, and they keep saying oh, we're going to utilize him, but every game his snap count has gone down, and I don't understand why that's happening. So I'd love to see him more on the field.
I would say part of the reason it's happening is that guys aren't tired on the front 7 at the end of a play. You're probably getting more burnout of Highsmith and Watt because the ball's getting out so fast that these guys aren't getting a chance to get exhausted from play to play. So Nick's not getting subbed onto the field because the starters aren't tired yet.
Yeah.
I mean, when the quarterback gets to that third step in his drop back and immediately throws the ball, man, there's nobody exhausted up front because they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
They're not on the field long enough to do anything. It's the DBs that are getting tired because they're chasing guys around all day long. And
they're old.
They wake up tired.
They wake up with joint aches.
I've had a hip hurting me for 2 weeks. I get it. I'm old too.
But you are doing a job.
We're not trotting you out onto the field there, though, James. We're trotting out people that are paid.
These guys who are getting paid lots of money to just not do anything or do it poorly. I should say it's not that they're not doing anything; it's just they're not doing it well.
My biggest concern is lack of effort at times.
Yes.
That was really damning, that touchdown that they had on the left-hand side from that wide receiver where Slade just pulled up. Slade just pulled up and didn't hit him, and he could have knocked him out of bounds at the 2 or 3 yard line. You could have had a chance to try to keep them out of the end zone. That, to me, is the biggest red flag. That is the reason I'm wearing a Mel Blount jersey today, because I want our corners to play like tough guys again.
Mhm.
Get back to hitting the guy in the mouth, smacking him with everything you've got when you tackle him, pushing him out of bounds. Like, you got to get back to playing physical ball, and most importantly, pressing him at the line of scrimmage. We're going to get into all that stuff, though. Injury report. It's time. It's a long injury report this week. So we're going to start off with the actual game designations on the Steelers side of things. There's a few guys that have been ruled all the way out. Scotty Miller with his finger. Again, we're assuming we've got a broken finger on our hand here because this is a couple weeks now. Corey Trice ruled out. He's still technically on the IR, so that is here nor there. Jabril Peppers is out, and this is a bigger deal than we might think. I know he hasn't been playing much on defense, but he has been the personal protector ever since the Miles Killebrew injury. So that means we will be on personal protector number 3 for this game, and we may finally be at a point where it's someone who's not well-versed at it. That could be a very significant thing. Hopefully they have a good plan in place for this. We'll see. I don't know what it'll be. Maybe it's Kyle Duggar. Maybe it's Chuck Clark. I'm not really sure, but they need to make sure that is a completely solidified position. Will Howard still working his way back on the IR, but is eligible to return. Same story with Malik Harrison with his knee. This is it for Malik. If they don't activate him today, then he's done for the season.
Yep.
There are 2 spots available on the 53-man roster. So I don't see a scenario that Malik Harrison is not activated from the IR today unless he is re-injured somehow, at which point they would keep him off of it. But he's been participating, and I want to say, he's been a full participant.
Yeah, he has. Yep.
So I would fully expect Malik Harrison to get that call today. Big question is, who's the other person going to be? Or do they just wait again? Do they just only dress 52 guys again? They could do that. Other injuries, DK Metcalf got some rest days this week. Ben Skoranek had a neck injury earlier in the week, but was full by Friday. Chuck Clark had an illness and did not participate in practice multiple days and is listed as questionable for the game. That is also the situation with Cole Holcomb. Also has an illness, also didn't participate in practice Friday, and also is questionable for the game. So we've got some kind of flu going around the facility there. Darius Slay missed with a personal matter. I understand he had a kid having like a graduation ceremony or something
like that. Yeah.
So he was just out of town. He'll be available. Corey Trice we spoke about already. Kyle Duggar showing up on the injury report with a knee injury. This is something that was bothering him while as a Patriot. He was a full participant, so I expect him to go, although I would not expect him to be like an every down player as he just doesn't know the defense yet.
Right.
Jabril Peppers, we talked about already. Same with Malik Harrison. Zach Frazier still dealing with that calf injury. It seems as though they're babying him throughout the week. Being that he played last week, I do not anticipate him missing this week's game. Yeah. He's just going to be, until it heals up all the way, which it might not do until the season's over, he's just going to be on this injury report with this calf, unfortunately. Sayamalu listed as limited with that pectoral injury, so he's not officially out for the game yet. If he does miss, we'll see Spencer Anderson starting in his position. Johnny Smith got some rest days. Pat Freiermuth missed earlier in the week with a quadricep injury, which I think we all saw coming when he had that absolutely monstrous hit that he took on his leg.
Yes.
Luckily, he's got some meaty thighs, so he's just probably has a bruise this big on his leg. It is probably purple and yellow and disgusting, but he'll be all right. He is a full participant. Cam got some rest days also. So this is the longest list we've had in a long time. And as much as I was grateful to have a bye week early on, now I'm starting to think we really needed it later on.
Yep.
Because this team is beat up, man. We seem to be putting somebody on injured reserve every week now. And it all seems to be piling up at certain positions too, which is kind of scary, especially personal protector, man. I don't want Pittman getting hit because we don't know how to block in front of him.
especially with Clark having that illness, because he was the guy we were kind of talking about potentially being the guy to fill that slot. So if he's listed as questionable, so if he's not ready to go, fourth guy up? Question mark.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
Do you start putting a running back there? Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Kenny Gainwell being back there as the personal protector. He at least understands the concepts with pass protection, so very similar concept there. Maybe they give Caleb Johnson a try. I don't know. Yeah, that might not be a bad move. Give him an opportunity to be the personal protector and good on punt coverage. Maybe the physicality of smacking a few guys, getting out there and laying somebody out in coverage might help him out on the offense with the physicality of the game.
Yeah.
Only time will tell.
Yeah.
Get him into a little bit more of a low pressure situation that he can sort of learn technique. And I like that idea.
He's got the size. He's a 230-pound running back, so there's no reason he wouldn't be able to fit the mold.
Mm-hmm.
Over to the other side of things, the Colts and their injuries. Wide receiver Anthony Gold has a knee injury and is out for the game. Cornerback Jalen Jones has a hamstring. He's listed as questionable for them. He was a full participant on Friday, so I would probably expect him to go. Defensive end Samson Ekubon with a knee injury. Samson was a do not participate, and he is listed as out. So that will help as far as their pass rush on the edge there. Also, defensive end Tyquan Lewis with a groin injury listed as questionable. He was full on Friday, though, so I'd probably expect him to go.
Yeah.
Defensive tackle Grover Stewart with a foot injury, also listed as questionable, also was full on Friday. I would expect him to go too. So they got a lot of guys banged up here. Outside of what we just talked about, Josh Downs with a hip as a full participant. Nick Cross, who's having a very good season for them at safety. A shoulder injury, but a full participant. Kenny Moore with an Achilles injury is listed as limited, but he didn't have a game designation, which makes me wonder if he was a full on Thursday and
limited
and went limited on Friday. So that's trending in the wrong direction for him, and he's one of the best nickel corners in the entire NFL. So might be a possibility of taking advantage of a guy that's not 100% there. Zaire Franklin got a rest day. Matt Conclaves was a personal reason that he got a day off. Tackle Braden Smith got a rest day. And then DeForest Buckner also got a rest day. So they're a lot healthier than we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, and injured reserve isn't mentioned on this list, but quarterback Anthony Richardson, who has been serving as the primary backup to Daniel Jones, is still presently on the IR.
Okay.
So if Daniel Jones were to go down, we would be seeing a lot of Riley Leonard, who is a rookie, I believe, out of Notre Dame, who hasn't seen much playing time. So not that you want to see a guy go down, but if he were to go down, we might be seeing a little bit of Riley Leonard. So they're thin at quarterback, despite the fact that the guy that they've got up front has been doing a pretty solid job to start off the year there. So,
well, with the lack of pressures we've been able to give, I don't see him going down this game.
Agreed. And again, never wishing for that, just something to be aware of, that injuries do happen in football, and that's a position that they are thin at. So if it were to happen, Daniel Jones is also a mobile quarterback at times. So if he gets out on a run and then we can lay a hit on him there, if we can get him in some discomfort, not trying to hurt him again, but like sometimes if you can rattle them there, you can shake their game in the pocket as well. So just trying to find ways to get after him and get him shaken and get him off his game.
Yeah, I believe Daniel Jones had 2 interceptions last week and only 4 on the season. So is it a possibility that he's trending in the wrong direction? Sure. So we'll see. I agree with you. It's important that we rattle him and don't let him just stand back there with no pressure at all. This Colts team is 7-1. They are not to be underestimated. Some calling them the best team in the AFC right now. Some calling them the best team in the NFL right now. So this is back-to-back weeks, Pittsburgh playing a team with only 1 loss on the season. So definitely a difficult task. The Colts are scoring at an insane clip right now. They're beating teams by 3 scores on a regular basis. So this is going to be an extreme challenge for a defense that has just been playing its worst football in decades. So let's get into this Colts team, right?
Yeah,
Offensively, Daniel Jones playing his best season of his career. Running back Jonathan Taylor looking like the best form of Jonathan Taylor that we've seen, and we've seen some very good forms of him. He's got some backups, but I wouldn't worry about that so much because if you see them, you're probably down by 2 scores already.
Yep, at least.
Wide receiver room, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, and Alec Pierce, all very formidable guys. Downs being their speed guy, so he's the one that you got to try to match up with Joey Porter Jr. or give some double coverage to. Offensive line's a pretty skilled unit here with former first-round pick Bernard Raymond at left tackle, all-pro Quentin Nelson at left guard, Tanner Bortolini, who kind of had his coming-out game last year against Pittsburgh at center, Matt Conclave's a former Pitt Panther at right guard, and then Braden Smith at right tackle. It's a good group.
Yep.
And maybe the guy that's performing the best out of all of these guys, their tight end, Tyler Warren, first-round pick out of Penn State University, has been just a dominant player already as a rookie, receiving the ball, blocking, doing everything that he did while he was at Penn State, but showing to be an excellent weapon for them in the offense. So this is not a game where we can just focus on shut down the run and the pass will take care of itself. Shut down the pass and the run will take care of itself. Just focus on the tight end and don't worry about the other guys. They're dangerous in all areas, folks. Our defense needs to show up, and they all need to play their best games just to keep this close. That's just how good this team is.
Yeah, not only the starters, but we mentioned Anthony Gold being out with an injury, but A.D. Mitchell is also a very athletic guy in their wide receiver room, and Mo Alley Cox was their tight end before they got Warren, and he's not a slouch either. So they have depth. If any of these guys are winded or get banged up and need to take some time off, it doesn't seem like a liability for this team to have their backups come in, especially if it's only for a couple series while a guy gets a break or something along those lines. So we really need to be firing on all cylinders on defense, especially with our depth and with the injuries that we're having, because again, with these guys, they're going to keep coming at you. And if they do, even if they have some sort of mix up or excuse me, issue that they need to send a backup in, you don't feel like you need that, like you can let up at all. You feel like you need to keep putting that pressure on.
Yeah. Well, and maybe we'll actually respond to that. I feel like the Steelers tend to play to the level of the team that they face, and maybe with this being such a incredible offensive line, like every piece of their offense is incredible, maybe it will require each person on the defense to be like the best that they can be to keep it close. Maybe we finally see a spectacular defensive performance that we all know that this team on paper is very capable of. So
absolutely. And in the past, Cameron Hayward has had really good success versus Quentin Nelson. He's actually dominated that matchup in previous matchups. Now Quentin Nelson seems to be playing out of his mind this year, but Cam Hayward's coming off of a 7-tackle performance, which is a rare thing for interior defensive linemen.
Yeah.
So I think both guys it's going to be like Clash of the Titans between these two. And hopefully Cam can come out on top, because if he can shake Quentin Nelson, that's going to shake the rest of that line. So Cam can absolutely impact the whole mentality of what's going on that offensive line for the Colts by winning his matchup with their best guy.
Yeah.
So definitely an important day for our best guys to play their best. Defensive side of things. Either one of you got that pulled up by chance?
I do.
You do? Nick,
I do.
Give me a break.
Absolutely. I was willing to give you a break on the offense, but we can – excuse me. I am also – like half of our players getting over an illness, so bear with me. But on the defensive side of the ball, we've got the defensive line starting with Kwity Paye, Grover Stewart, DeForest Buckner, and Liatu Latu, which is one of my favorite names in the NFL to say right now. Really a solid group of guys. They're generating a lot of pressure up front, getting some good sacks up there, so definitely something to be looking out for on their defensive line there. Our O-line is going to have their work cut out for them this week. In terms of linebackers, we've got Jermaine Pratt, Zaire Franklin, and Austin I'm going to need some help from you here, James. JK, I believe is how it's pronounced. Not overly familiar with him. Zaire Franklin and Jermaine Pratt seem to be the two names that really stick out to me on this line. Still a solid group of guys there, though. And then in the secondary, they've got Mekhi Becton, who's been having a great season. Nick Cross, who James, what's that?
Mekhi Blackman.
Yes, Mekhi Blackman. Nick Cross, who I believe James highlighted before. Cam Bynum, Jonathan Edwards, and Kenny Moore the second are the starting crew in terms of the defense for the Colts.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if Mekhi Becton lines up in safety, I'm going to be terrified. That's
True, very true.
Yeah, so there's some things to note here. I would say Leatu Latu, an excellent pass rusher, so we got to make sure we know exactly where he is at all times.
2.5 sacks on the season.
He has 10 already. Wow.
10 already. No, 2.5, I thought it said, or unless that was the last game. Let me go back to the stats here.
One thing I was unaware of is that Buddy Johnson was still in the league. Apparently, Buddy Johnson is a backup middle linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, my gosh.
He is gone already. If you guys remember him, he was like a 4th-round pick for Pittsburgh a number of years back and just didn't stick on the roster. Didn't stick around for whatever reason. This middle linebacker core here with Jermaine Pratt and Zaire Franklin has had a lot of success against Pittsburgh. Franklin specifically has been a nightmare for us. Pratt had all his success against us with the Cincinnati Bengals. So, again, somebody very familiar with what Pittsburgh likes to do. The secondary's got some studs, too. So there's a lot of good players on this team here.
Good team.
Yeah.
That's a good team.
You hate saying that about your opponent before. But, man, I'm having a tough time looking at this team and saying, here it is. This is the guy you want to attack. I don't know who it would be this week. Maybe it's some of the outside corners. Maybe that's the weakness with Mekhi Blackman and Jonathan Edwards. I want to say one of those guys is only like 5'10", so that might be a favorable matchup for DK. Yeah, Blackman's only 5'11", 178. So size-wise, he would tower over that guy if you get the opportunity for some of those like red zone moments where you're boxing somebody out. The other corner, Jonathan Edwards, is 6'1", 201, so not as big of a size advantage. So if you can get DK on Blackman, maybe that's your matchup there. Try to get some jump ball situations, some contested catch. You might be able to take advantage of that matchup there.
Oh.
Special teams?
Special teams.
Special teams, special players.
Special plays.
That's it. Their punter, Rigoberto Sanchez, the place kicker, Michael Badgley, long snapper, Luke Rhodes, because long snappers matter as well. Kick return and punt return, Anthony Gold, with Ashton Dolan backing him up on kick return duties, Josh Downs backing up on punt return duties. So some notable names there in addition to names in other places on this roster. You guys have anything you want to talk about with their special teams units, or should we just get to our keys to success?
Let's just get to our keys to success. Unless you got something good. It's all good. This is all spelling doom and gloom as a Steelers fan.
I mean, it doesn't look great when you first look at it. I'm trying to get it pulled back up here, but my internet's not liking me too much. I had to switch to data on the phone there for a moment. But when I was looking over the Colts' schedule, there weren't a lot of impressive teams that they beat. When they beat the Broncos, it was by 1 point.
Yeah.
They lost to the Rams. They've played the Titans twice. They've played the Cardinals. They've played Miami. They played a lot of teams that have been struggling. They played the Raiders. So a lot of these wins in the W's in the win column came from teams that I'm not surprised that they beat. So it's an impressive record. But in terms of teams that they beat, the only one that really impressed me outside of the Broncos was the Chargers. That was a 1-score game. The Broncos was a 1-point game. So if Pittsburgh can limit the run game with Jonathan Taylor, which has been a struggle of ours, Hopefully we can see some success there. But just like I know we've been talking about how impressive this Colts team is, and they are, but
Yep.
it's also not shocking to me that they beat a lot of the teams that they beat. So we'll see if we can provide another challenge for them like the Rams did, or like the Chargers or the Broncos did, and hopefully we can end up with a W in our win column for this week.
And that's a really good point there, Nick. And also the Chargers, when they faced them, were missing both starting offensive tackles.
And both the starting running backs. They're down to
Yeah.
Kamani Vidal. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
when you
So
have
kind of a beat-up team.
Yeah, when you have a beat up team, and it was a one-score game again. I think it was like 27-20 or something like that, if I remember the score correctly. So it's they are a beatable team, despite the fact that they've been impressive so far. So we'll have to hopefully see Pittsburgh be one of the teams that can pull out the W in this one. But let's start with our keys to success there. Do you want to go first, James, so that you're not on the loop around at the end there?
Oh, I'll tell you what I'm thinking is let's get some of Cody's out of the way here. That way we don't have to jump back into his notes and I can kind of focus on what's going on here. The first one that I'm going to choose, Cody gave us 5 of his keys and it told us we could use any of them. So I'm going to use that liberty and choose the ones that I feel are probably the easiest to translate without him enlightening us on his take on it. His second one was get the ball in the end zone. No more one-score drive held to a field goal. Example, we score 4 times, 3 touchdowns, 1 field goal. So he wants to see those drives sustained and ending in touchdowns, which is obviously that would have made all the difference in the world last week. We had 4 field goals. If you can convert just 2 of those to touchdowns instead, at the end of the game, you're within reach of possibly winning instead of being down by 10 points. So we're going to go with that for his first one, getting touchdowns. His next one, hold the Colts under 25 points, which would be an incredible feat because I don't know if anybody's done that all season long against the Colts. It's a very high-octane offense. And like he says here, they've been putting up points like crazy. Have to give our offense a chance by not allowing 30 to 40 points. And I agree with him on that. If this turns into a shootout, that doesn't favor Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh scoring more than they have in previous seasons and by a decent amount, but the defense is giving so much more. The offense is having a tough time outscoring that.
The only team that held them under 25 points was the Rams. And
there you go.
And they lost. So
yep. So it makes 100% sense. If you want to win, you better hold them under 30. He says under 25. I feel confident that our offense can score 25 points. I think they're averaging a good 25 or more on the season. So that makes perfect sense to me. I'd actually like to defer to one of you guys so I can write some of this down if you don't mind.
Yeah. Nick, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Why don't you take it, Joe? I'll follow you up.
All right. Mine is also going to be on the side of the ball, and it's about we always say this, or I always say this. I need long, sustained offensive drives, but I'm getting very specific for this game, and I want to see at least 1 touchdown, but more favorably, I want 2 in the third quarter, because that seems to be our biggest area of weakness of not being able to put points on the board is when we come back from halftime. So I want to see successful adjustments made coming from halftime if there needs to be adjustments. And I want to see us put points, not just a field goal, on the board in the third quarter. So I'm looking for 2 touchdowns in the third quarter. Any touchdown points would be perfect. But we do not produce well in the third quarter. And that could be because our defense is on the field for too long, or we're doing like what Cody said, where it's like we're driving down the field and we're not putting up 7, we're putting up 3, or we're punting it away.
No.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, last week of those 4 field goals, I think 3 of them were over 50 yards.
And I think
you're not getting very far down the field.
I think we will, and maybe this is a speculation, but I'm like, Mike Tomlin is such a defensive-minded coach, and he's so cautious, and Boswell is so – if my friends listen to this, they're going to – but Boswell's so automatic at 50+. Within 55, we can rely on him. And so I wonder if we are playing it too safe, and because we know he'll at least put points on the board. So I would like to not play it safe, and I would like to get touchdowns, specifically.
Couldn't agree with you more. You have to feel like that's the reason that so many times on 3rd and long, they throw it short. Because they know, hey, let's just get it inside range. Let's make it a slightly easier kick. Boz will make it. We just can't take the sack and get outside and get no points.
Right.
You know, they're worried more about getting sacked on the play and not being able to kick a long field goal than they are sustaining the drive and achieving the first down and trying to get the touchdown.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in coalition with that, I saw a stat recently that Pittsburgh is last in the league in going for it when analytics say they should. So I think that kind of fits in with your key there, Jill, to kind of like, you know, keep those drives going, get ourselves down the field and get those drives ended in some points like Cody was saying too. So I think that all ties in very, very well.
Yeah, and I don't even think we've won the time of possession battle. I think there's one game.
Like one, yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be so for real.
Well, I am going to go on the offensive side as well for my first one. I really want to limit the rushing in this game, not just Jonathan Taylor, but also Daniel Jones, because those guys will both dash you with a good rush. So I want to see a rushing game under 100 yards. I know that's a tall task, especially from our defense recently, but if we can hold them under 100 rushing yards total, I really think we're going to have a good chance at winning here. The 2 games where they had the least amount of rushing yards, or at least where Jonathan Taylor had the least amount of rushing yards, was one win over the Vegas Raiders, in which they just passed the ball insanely well. And then the other one was there were 3 under 100 yards, 4 under 100 yards, excuse me. Win over the Dolphins, passed really well. Win over the Vikings, passed really well. When they barely beat the Rams, and then when they lost to the Rams, and when they barely beat the Chargers. So if we can hold them to under 100 rushing yards combined, I think we'll do a really, really good job of being able to then make them one-dimensional, as we mentioned earlier in the show, be able to make some adjustments with the secondary to kind of figure out how we can keep them firing on all cylinders. And if we can keep that going, should be a lot better of a day for Pittsburgh than what we've been seeing recently. So that's my first one.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the turn, guys. I got this under control. I got both of them ready here. I've written down. We're firing on all 4 cylinders. It's the juice, the Alani orange.
It's Alani. Yes.
That's why I'm playing my best game right now. Number 1, what I think is so extremely important in this game, we got to get back to bully ball. Mel Blount used to bully guys on the other side of the field. Our best bully is Darnell Washington. I need at least 4 catches from Darnell Washington in this game. If you want to demoralize the defense, put a 300-pound tight end down the field and have him start running full speed at people. You'll see what these guys are made of when they have to make business decisions on how hard they try to tackle a guy that big. You want to demoralize Zaire Franklin, who's owned us defensively? Do that. You want to slow down Nick Cross, who's one of the faster safeties in the league? Yeah, send Darnell right at him. So this is what Pittsburgh needs to do to establish dominance in this game and really kind of take over the mentality of what's going on here. So number 1, bully ball, Darnell gets 4+ catches. Number 2, pass breakups. I don't care who. I need at least 6 pass breakups in this game. I don't care if it's Cam Hayward batting 6 of them down at the line. I don't care if it's Brandon Eccles jumping 6 passes and batting them down, or if it's the middle linebackers finally getting their hands up and breaking a few of them. We need it from everywhere. It can't be simple pass and catch on offense for the Colts. We've got to break the rhythm up, and that comes with making some plays on defense. You don't necessarily have to intercept the ball. You do have to break it up once in a while. It can't be simple pass and catch. So I need at least 6 of those so that they get in their head a little bit of, dang it, man, these guys keep on making good plays. Doesn't matter how good I throw the ball, or it doesn't matter how good of a route I run, or that guy was wide open and I couldn't get it past Cam Hayward. He batted it down. That's the stuff that starts getting into people's psyche. So you got to get back to the basics of doing these things. So that's going to be my 2 keys to success for this game. I'm going to bring it back to you, Nick, for your second key. What do we got to do to beat this Colts team?
Yeah, I'm not remembering how clean of football we played last week, but I know that it was. I was going to say I didn't think it was, but I remember also having some
jogs a memory there.
I also, I also wasn't too pleased with the last several weeks of how clean of football we've been playing. So I want to get back to being the least penalized team in the league like we were at the start of the season. I want to see us play clean football. I expect there to be some penalties. It's a football game, but I want to keep it under 2. Like, I don't want more than 2 penalties for the team on this game. I know that's a tall ask, especially with what we've been doing recently, but if we can get back to playing clean football, not shoot ourselves in the foot and make things more difficult for us and just play our game, hopefully then we can win that battle and find ourselves with find ourselves with a bit more of a successful game.
Yeah. Control what you can control.
Absolutely. That gives you a fighting chance if you play clean football and don't let the refs get involved by playing that way. Joe, bring us home. What is your final key to success? How do we beat these Colts?
We, like Nick said, we have to continue the run defense, but we need some splash. There has to be splash for this defense to revive them, because I don't know how many quarters, what the stat is of no splash play, but we need a splash of some sort. I don't care if that comes as a sack for a loss, as a forced fumble, strip sack, an interception. We need some splash to revive this defense. Preferably, I'd like to see a forced fumble. That would be, I think, what we would probably lean towards, especially with their run game being so well. Try to get it out of the running back's hands and then I would love to see an interception, but we don't play the coverage currently well enough to where we're in the routes with them that we could actually intercept the ball. So
get them tipped passes. That'll make it happen.
Now, listen, there we go. So I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But I think if we get some splash in any capacity, it will revive the defense. It'll give them just a little bit of faith that they need, that they are a good defense and they can do what they need to do, and that will turn the game around for them. So splash.
No turnovers since Ireland, and in the United States, not since September.
Terrible.
So, yeah. Gotta correct that. Could not agree with you more on that. That brings us to score predictions. We got to wrap the show up, or we're going to lose Nick before we finish. So, Cody's score prediction was 36-18 in favor of the Indianapolis Colts, which you have to feel is kind of reasonable with how they've been playing and how Pittsburgh's been playing. But I would like to see what you guys have in mind. Let's keep the same order. Nick, what is your score prediction for the game?
Yeah, I'm going to go 35-24 in favor of the Colts. I've gone Pittsburgh the last couple games, and we've seen how that went. But also, just the way the Colts have been playing, again, I understand, as I mentioned before, that it's been against teams that are not, in my opinion, as good as Pittsburgh, or at least as good as Pittsburgh should be. However, they're on a hot streak, and that brings momentum, and the new ownership under, I can't remember her first name, Carly Ursay Gordon, I believe, maybe. But the new ownership has been taking the team very seriously. She's on the sidelines taking notes at every game. So this is just an organization that at the moment is being run very well. So I anticipate them to have a good game. I just hope we can have as good a game as well to bring them down. But as things stand now, I do see the Colts coming away with the win in this one.
Gotcha. Jill, what do you have?
Listen, okay. I'm going to show a visual here of something very stupid that I saw on Facebook, but it was pause the screen for the score prediction. But I really don't think that's what's going to happen, but I'm going 30-16, but I'm taking the Colts. 30-16. But I just wanted if somehow my score prediction was right, and it went with the Steelers this time. I did have it, but I am taking the Colts. So
this is where it's up to me to change the tide, right? Or go reverse logic, and if we all go Colts, then Steelers win, right?
we can all
so
be wrong.
That's it. That's our best bet, is that I join everyone here and say Colts. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. It's kind of what I planned on in the original anyway. But I'm gonna go 38 points for the Colts, 27 for the Steelers in a real shootout, and that puts all four of us saying the Colts are gonna win today. But can you blame us? Pittsburgh's defense has looked awful, and the Colts are looking really good. So just kind of the way things go.
We would need like the Big Ben 500-yard Bumblebee uniform game that I went to years ago for us to win.
We need to not play like this Pittsburgh team and start playing like ourselves again. So
Yep, and we need the secondary to start playing like they care.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Please don't forget to like and follow. Oh, actually, before we do,
oh my Lord,
tell us about our favorite place to watch the game, the Edinburgh Hotel Bar.
We darn near did it again, didn't we?
Almost.
Supporters of Steelers by the Lake include the Edinburgh Hotel Bar, serving a variety of lunch and dinner items every day from their location at 100 Meadville Street in downtown Edinburgh. Information is available at 814-734-5103 or online at edinburghhotelbar.com. The Edinburgh Hotel Bar, where you had me at hotel.
Had me at hotel. Hopefully we have the Colts at Acrisure. But thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I believe we're also on Spotify as well. Subscribe. Yeah. Ring the bell. Don't cost you a thing. Give the 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts here. Make James very, very happy. And until next time, these are your hosts, Nick, Jill from Ohio, and James Strongator Strong, signing off.
Peace.